Welcome back to the channel, team. I think we're back for another leg session. The last video you guys saw was a leg session, but it was at the back of a diet, so I don't think I could function very well. Brain wasn't working very well. And we've got a new training program. So finishing off that last block was that low volume, sort of higher frequency, just like upper lower split. And then we've moved into like a more prep specific program now. So we're back to 5 programmed sessions. This time we've only got 1 leg session per week. So pretty happy with overall leg development throughout the off season. So we don't really need as much leg volume to kind of maintain what we've built basically. So a little bit more priority towards like arms and delts as we continue on into this sort of contest prep phase now. But today's session's a fun one. We're kicking off with a couple of variations of some leg curls. We've got some squat variations. So it was max knee flexion, which we're going to use the pendulum because the gym we're training at today has a really nice pendulum. But kicking off, as always, like I harp on a million times, lying leg curl first because your hamstrings can never be big enough. And we're always trying to grow hamstrings, so we're kicking that off first. Oh man. So a point on variation when it comes to hamstring training specifically. When we're looking at like movements that you should be doing to train your hamstrings, we can look at 2 kind of movement categories. One being like hip extension, so our deadlift variations, stiff leg deadlift, RDL, back extension, those types of movements. And then leg curl variations. So when we're looking at maximally developing the hamstrings, we need to use both. Because basically the RDL, the hip extension movements train all of the hamstrings to a pretty good degree, but it kind of misses that hamstring long head, bicep long head that sits over the knee joint specifically, that doesn't get trained through hip extension. So we need to utilize those hamstring curl variations to train all the heads maximally. And then when it comes down to specific implementation of different leg curl variations, the lying curl in particular trains more of that mid to shorten range, so it gets harder as the load comes up. And then when we're looking at the seated hamstring curl, it already pre-stretches the hamstrings and it does take it out to a greater degree in that lengthened position where the challenge is hardest in the lengthened range. So when we're setting up our program for hamstring training, we do want to include a hinge, we do want to include a seated curl, and we do want to include a lying curl.
You got 12. Go 15 if you can.
Lucky we got that on film. Fuck. Whew, insurance claim.
Restful is.
Fuck.
That's happened to me before. It's scared
Oh.
the shit out of you.
All right.
I
Well,
know you didn't.
I think so. How many was that? 12?
You were gone for your 12th one. You definitely got like 4 more now.
Oh, that fucking cooked me.
At least 2 more. Yep. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's me. Holy.
You can blame the first.
I know, blew my water on the first set.
Best pause. Forced rest pause.
Yeah, that absolutely hammered me. That's so nice, isn't it? So moving on to exercise 3, which is our first quad exercise. Quad compound squat variation, 1 working set, 6 to 10 reps. So it's more of a heavier loaded movement. Opting for a more braced pattern with the pendulum squat, probably one of my favorite like quad building exercises. But one thing that I did want to bring up, and I've talked about this a million times, is warm-up sets. This probably being like the heaviest lift we're going to do for the day, it's going to take multiple warm-up sets to get the load up to basically my working load. So a lot of questions of how to like warm-up sets. If you've only got like 1 working set programmed, do you just do 1 set and that's it? No, that's 1 hard working set. I'm going to probably squat 4 plates today, so I've literally gone up by 1 plate, maybe 3, 4, up until I get to my working load, 4 plates. I'm only doing a few reps each time, so maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 reps max, just to get the knees warm, get the nervous system primed in order to lift that load. Once I find my working load, then I do my first working set. So on paper, I've kind of done like 5 sets, but they're nowhere near failure, so they're not really stimulative working sets. They are warm-up sets, which is why once we get to that top load, we do our working sets close to fail, and that's the one that counts for muscle growth. I'll keep it in that 6 to 10.
Yep.
How many was that? Yeah, boy.
Definitely could have gone in.
Oh, that felt nice for the first one back. Yep. I'll keep it 10 to 15. Oh, that's heavy.
Take it easy, nice and controlled. Good. Just work in your comfort range. Now you're working. Go. Yes, get up. Yep.
Oh, that was a very nice set. Wow. Right, so we're actually onto our last exercise. This is actually a really nice workout. 2 sets leg extension. Much the same as hamstrings, the quads are pretty simple to train. When it comes to like training all heads of the quads effectively, we have some muscles that cross the knee and hip. We have some muscles that just cross the knee. So for that reason, we need to utilize different exercise variations to ensure that we basically grow all those heads equally. The main stuff that we need to do, like your bread and butter movements, will train the majority of those quad muscles. So think like squat variations and leg press variations, also single leg lunge variations. Then the leg extension and the sissy squat, where we don't have any hip movement and we're just moving the knees, is a really nice addition to kind of add the icing on the cake to your quad training. So I would always emphasize your sort of meat and potato movements, your squat variations, leg press variations, and then add in things like your leg extension, sissy squat variations, just for added variation, but to ensure we grow everything equally.
Last set of the day.
Oh, bruh. That is cooking.
There's a close-up.
Filth. 21 weeks out. Oh. All right, that's us done. We finished on 90-degree back extension. We had 3 hamstring exercises, 3 quad exercises. Not much volume, I think, across the board. It was only about 8 to 10 sets, maybe. But a pretty fucking hard session when you do it properly. So we're done. That's my 1 leg session done for the week. And pretty much week 1 now, so that was our starting numbers. Logbook progressions from here every week for the next probably like 6 to 10 weeks, pending recovery. But I think after that low volume training block, feeling pretty damn good. So ready to rock and roll for this program. But that's leg day 1 and only for the week done. I'll see you guys next week for probably upper body. But see you then.